Hello, everyone. How are you today? Like, what is Traci doing live on whatever day this is in the afternoon? But as you can see, we have special guests in the house that I am so excited to like bring forth and collaborate in this way. So these are not strangers to the internet. If you don't know them, I'm sorry for you because you definitely need to know they have something amazing coming up November 1st through the 3rd, which is the Move to Portugal Summit. Yeah, I know I live in Mexico, but we sisters and family abroad. So this is how we do it here. Um, y'all know I'm a Krishan's my sister girl. So Krishan from Black Global, and then Rick and Halisi, who have like taken Portugal by storm and YouTube by storm. And every time I've chimed on to their lives is Felicia is like, if y'all don't get out and you guys are crazy. And I love the fire that she brings to this space. So I am going to let them introduce themselves. Not that they need an introduction, but I'm so honored to support them in this way and to let everybody know about the Move to Portugal Summit happening again, which is linked in the description in this video, but Move to Portugal Summit happening next month in a few weeks, in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks, in a few weeks. Ooh, that's coming up quick.
It feels like it's the day after tomorrow is what it feels
like. It really
does.
I'm trying not to panic here. It's like, what more do I need to do? What more do
y'all ready?
To do? Yeah,
y'all ready for that?
We are. There's still some little perks we want to be able to offer and everything like that. But basically, we're ready. We're ready. We got the speaker lineup. We got the talks lined up. Hey, Diane.
Hey, how you doing, Diane?
So yeah, we are definitely ready. So we'll let our younger partner go first.
Ooh, is that me?
Girlfriend,
yes, young lady.
But I'll take 50 being young. Okay.
Birthday party vicariously, like in spirit.
Yes.
It was off the chain. It was off the chain.
It did. It looked amazing.
Oh my goodness. Y'all are gonna make me blush. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Krishan Wright. I'm the founder of Black Global and the host of the Black Global podcast. You're a Black person and you want to move abroad? I'm your girl. I am now here living my best life in Lisbon, Portugal, and I get to work with these wonderful folks right here, Our Black Utopia.
Layla saying twice in one day.
We working.
So maybe she's talking to Traci. Have you gone live earlier today? Okay, so she's.
No, I think it's because I was broadcasting to my channel twice.
I had to work on client stuff. So go ahead.
Yes. Hey y'all, my name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick.
And we're Our Black Utopia. We help folks who look like us who are getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan, get their money straight so that they can retire on time or maybe even early.
And early is always a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. We took our finances from negative 22,000 in net worth to over 1.1 million. Y'all, we can do it. You can do it too.
Yes.
And now we're living the life of our dreams in our own Black Utopia in Lisbon, Portugal. Yeah, it's been, March 2022 is when we launched, and June 2022 is when we landed in Portugal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like for me, not to really bring this around to me, but like watching you guys and even Krishan, you have to have something to keep you motivated and focused in your move abroad process, and people to like they did it, I can too, like give you hope. I always say people need things to look forward to because it's great for your mental health, but moving abroad is such a huge undertaking just from a task perspective. the mental health piece of it all, you need representation. And I know for me, you guys were definitely that. And we celebrated a year, me and Krishan, around the same time here in San Miguel de Allende. We did our
Okay.
year recently too.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
love
time
it.
flies when you're having fun. And
It,
you're
it
right.
does.
Representation definitely matters. Like I
Yeah.
started Black Sit Global. It's hard to believe next year will be 5 years. And so I've only been in Portugal just over a year now. So I launched Black Sit Global in June of 2020. I didn't move to Portugal until September of 2023. So people who have been tuned in to me have seen me through several years of an evolution and doing the steps and having these conversations with people from around the world, helping other people move to other countries around the world. But, representation is the key. And that's what is the thread that really keeps us going, is that the more we show up and the more we give a glimpse of what our real lives look like, it can serve as the inspiration and also the information to help people move abroad.
Yeah. And even though we moved before Krishan, I was watching Krishan on Black Sit Global,
Mhm.
and the talks that she was having helped us do things more efficiently. And it's like, oh, that's a thing. Oh, I could do that. Okay. So yes, representation definitely matters.
Yeah, it always seems like somebody always has that one thing that you didn't think about,
Right.
or it's like, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Or having a different way of looking at something to take care and move something forward. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so without further ado, let's talk. And I mean, I've been on the page. The colors are amazing. Like, I am a branding girl, so I'm looking at all elements of it. It looks amazing. The speaker lineup is great. Let's talk about these 3 days that for your second annual. This is not the first go round, you guys. This is the second annual Move to Portugal Summit that they are hosting. So let's dive in.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and kick it off from the soft part. It's interesting because when Krishan and I came up with this idea, I was just thinking about the visa process and healthcare. And she's like, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about, I was like, oh yeah, these are things that people who are not old think about. So we have people from all walks of life. We have people with little kids and teenagers. We have people who live in Porto. We have people who live in Coimbra, right? All around the metro area from all walks of life, and people who moved here and are single and senior females by themselves. Well, they're not by themselves because we have an amazing community. So all of those folks will be on to give you their experiences, and you can ask them questions. And so that's one of the things that I really love about the lineup that we have for you. And then on the technical side,
yeah, we have our professional experts. So they'll be tackling everything from real estate. So we have two real estate professionals talking about Lisbon from the rental side to the extended metro area on the purchasing side of the equation, because several people in our community have purchased homes since moving here. We have our immigration attorney coming back for a second year to talk about the visa process, what to expect. We're also going to talk about topics that aren't always top of mind when you move abroad, like estate planning and wills. And then also, if you come into a relationship when you move abroad and that relationship ends, what are the things that you need to know to navigate that? If you divorce and you're in Portugal, what are the laws that might be applicable to you that you just didn't think of? We're also going to be talking about building a business abroad. We have several members of our community who have built businesses since moving to Portugal. And so we're going to have them, as well as a attorney who is well-versed in building a business, walk you through, the requirements. And so and then also, let me not even forget taxes, because Taxes is something that is an unavoidable topic for Americans. Once you leave, people think, oh, yeah, I'm done with Uncle Sam. He's not a nice uncle. He follows you. He's a stalker. And so we're going to
He's that
have,
A
yeah,
definite
he's
stock.
that guy, right? It's like leave the country, but you don't leave him. So we're going to talk about how to navigate that, not by us, because we are not tax professionals. We are going to have a tax professional talk about the Portuguese requirements, because you do need to know that you will be paying taxes in Portugal. And then in terms of the US, what your responsibilities are. But I think the key thing as it relates to taxes, and that's probably the extent of what I can say as a layperson, is that it's really important for you to know the sources of your income, because not all income is taxed at the same rate, if at all. And so it's really, I think, for people who really think that that might be a barrier for them in terms of moving abroad, I think that's going to be a session that is well worth the investment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a question about the business piece, because always like piques me. Is
Yeah.
is it also going to be covering like brick and mortar, or like how is it? Is it like the actual brick and mortar business, or is it online businesses that serve the community? Like, do we know what that is looking like? Because when people come abroad, not everybody is retired, and
Yeah.
so starting a business abroad is essential, because it's also about how you're going to feed yourself, but how is the community going to benefit? So what does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for that particular session, we have one person who has more of a travel business, more virtual, I would say.
Mhm.
And then the other one who is based here and has a catering business. So she's doing it not in a brick and mortar, like you can't go to her store, but private chef, catering, go to you, have events, etc. That said, we know several people here who have, one gentleman has a jazz club that he opened since living here. And so there are Americans that are really creating these wonderful enterprises that, if you think about the barrier to entry in the United States, even if you use the jazz club as an example, getting a liquor license, getting just right, a lease, all of the permitting, etc., it would be virtually impossible for someone to say, hey, you know what, I want to do this, let me test it out, right? The risk is so great. Even if the personal reward is there, the financial risk is so great.
Yeah.
Whereas being here, where you can maybe rent out a space, depending on the size, for a couple hundred to a couple thousand a month, then you've lowered the risk, because you're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it, grassroots, which it has, word of mouth, and it's been a successful enterprise. But that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people be able to take risk, be able to have agency, and be able to make all of their dreams really come to fruition.
Mhm. That's one of the things that I've noticed. Like, the barrier to entry is so different once you leave the United States, and I think it allows people to like live out their dreams in ways that they were limited to in the States.
Yeah.
And we also have someone here who moved here on a student visa, an adult who moved here on a student visa, right? So she's going to be talking about that process, and then transferring that student visa to another type of visa so she can continue to live here. And she too has her own business. So so that is in play. There was something else that I think that we forgot that I wanted to say, and of course it just slipped out of that brain. It'll come
There's
back.
so many sessions. We have, moving up to Portugal as a solo person. Halise mentioned all of the different areas that we're going to be covering this year that we didn't cover last year. Go ahead, Halise.
Managing your elder parents from abroad.
Yes,
Oh,
big one.
Yes.
raising parents
Yes.
Yes.
The thing they don't tell you is like
There.
the
Basically,
tables turn.
Yes, the tables do definitely turn.
though my mom hasn't gotten the memo.
Oh wow. Okay.
She still has not gotten the memo.
Yeah, I don't think they get the memos. That's a
Mm-mm.
really good one. That is
Yeah.
a really good one.
Yeah.
I know, just like us here in SMA, you guys have a beautiful, vibrant, large Black community in Portugal. So let's get into how that experience has been for you guys. And what people can expect too, like if you know, in their raw process in landing in Portugal.
Yeah.
One of the other things that we're going to be talking about in the summit is having a Black men's group to talk, to let Black men in America know that, hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
You can live in a foreign country, you can be in a foreign country without all the worries and the cares of burdens of being in the United States and walking while Black and everything like that. So because we get a lot of women
Yeah.
that are willing to make that move, but then they say, well, how do I get my husband to do it? How do I get him on board to do it? And there are husbands that want to do it, but it's just they get stuck and they need that little bit of encouragement from seeing another brother that's out there that is doing it with a smile on his face, living good, feeling good. And, we're a support group. So, we're there. Brothers are covered. We got you covered,
Yeah. So
That-
there is going to
that's-
be a men's mission.
That's so important, Rick. We have one here, and when I tell you their group is pretty big, but they get together, they play basketball, they have their own chats, they meet up once a month, and it's about seeing other Black men who are doing it because they're going to have conversations that women aren't necessarily privy to or know that they're experiencing. So I think I've witnessed it. Let me say this, I've witnessed Black men getting out of the United States, having what Halisi said, well, we're all the Black people. And then when we tell them, and then when we connect them, they end up staying longer than initially anticipated because they have that connection and alignment now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll have a Black men's panel at the summit, and there is a Black men's WhatsApp group. So there's both.
They got you covered, you guys.
Here in Portugal,
Yeah.
I can't take credit for the WhatsApp group. I can't take credit for that. We can't take credit for that, but it exists. And so I have to say, one of my best friends here, I met the second day I came, because this is what happens, y'all. When you move, all these people you ain't talked to, they see on Facebook where you going or what you want to do, and they start connecting you to all the other people who they know who've done this or that, right? And same thing when y'all know we have residency in Mexico. So we met her the second day, but then the next week we went to a meetup, a Black in Portugal meetup, and that was the meetup that said, okay, yes, we feel good about this place, and yes, we know we're gonna have somebody to hang out with.
Right.
Yeah.
Michael. Yes, so this is for you, Michael. It was karaoke, and I don't know if VIP is still doing karaoke every month, but they were back in the day. And there was people there who were 20, 21, 22 years old, 60, 61, 62, 63 years old, and everybody in between. And we sing in the whispers, and they rapping and screaming at the screens. It was so much fun. And we walked out of there with a couple's phone number. Let me tell you about the community here, y'all. They said, so how's your visa process going? Have you found a place? Well, we're about to buy a place. So if you need an address, we can let you use our address and we'll, get it registered and blah, blah, blah. Whoop, just keep us posted. That was the first night that we were here. I mean, not the first night, the first night that we have met them. And here, listen, when they party, They party hardy because they were like, okay, where's the next spot? Where's the next spot? They said, well, we might come home with the sun today. I'm like, no, we ain't. But it's like that. It's like that. It truly, truly is. And so, somebody was saying, are there 50 or 60 English-speaking Black expats in the Lisbon metro area? I had 60 people at my birthday party.
You guys in these birthday parties, like these massive
because you can afford to do it here.
Yes, because I would not be able to afford a yacht for my birthday party.
Right. She had a yacht, right? And we walked on. It's like, here you go. I rented an 8-bedroom house for 4 days for my friends. And then one day I had all of the friends who haven't been here as long, I didn't know as well, weren't part of the family yet. They came and we celebrated my 60th, and it was totally catered. It was totally catered. And there's just no way I could have afforded a beach house, 8-bedroom beach house to rent for 4 days, just so me and my friends can, recreate the best man or soul food or something, without the drama.
So I want to talk about Michael's question. I thought this is a really good question. Do you anticipate more Black Americans will move overseas and stay there permanently in the future?
I think more Black Americans will move overseas. Because they're starting to realize it's not like looking back way back in the day with Nina Simone and them and because they were entertainers and or James Baldwin or somebody moving over there because they're making political statements and wanting to get away from the craziness of America.
And we thought they had the money to do it.
Yeah, and then and then having the money and stuff to do it. And I think more and more people are starting to realize, or I hope they're starting to realize, that it takes a lot, but it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to be the multimillionaire. You don't have to be the entertainer. You don't have to buy the big, live in where's in France that everybody lives on the Riviera. There's a lot of other places that you can live. You can live close to the Riviera and live just as good or better than you live in America.
Which leads us into Michael's next question, which is about the American dream. You know what? To me, I really think that the American dream was never for Black people. It was never for Black people in the United States. So ideology.
And we have to, we have to decide what that dream is. That's why we call it Our Black Utopia, right? I thought at one time having the McMansion and all of that was part of my dream, but it's like I realized that I don't want to work that hard.
Right.
Hell no.
Right. I don't, and I don't mind hard work in general, but I don't like working hard when it's unappreciated, undervalued, and I'm being underpaid. Right. And dealing with all of those microaggressions. So hopefully the election will be in favor of democracy and not tyranny. But that notwithstanding, them folks still gonna be there. Yeah. Them folks who was marching with tiki torches in North Carolina are still gonna be there.
They are.
So Michael, to your point, yes, I do believe, I think that this is the next great migration. And I think that these people that you see on your screen are part of the Harriet Tubmans of this great migration. We're going to look back on this time and say, damn, thank God Traci was there. Thank God Krishan was there. Thank God Halisi and Rick and Stephanie and Adelia and all, Rashida and all of these folks who showed me the light of what is possible and how well we can live. But I think what we need to do is reimagine what that looks like. Do you really need a McMansion? Do you need to pay for space that you're not using?
Oh, tap me in.
Right?
Oh.
Right. I mean, we get caught up in this stuff, and it doesn't necessarily fall in line with what brings joy, and it certainly doesn't fall in line with financial freedom.
Mm-mm.
So you want some reparations, let's get financially free. And the democratization of being able to invest has allowed us to do that.
Right.
The internet has democratized being able to get information and also give information and reach audiences. And if you've got something to sell, you can do that without having to go through middlemen. So shoot,
Mm-hmm.
they ain't keeping us trapped.
Right.
Oh, hell no.
No, ma'am, no, ma'am. No, sir, no, sir.
I don't work hard. I let my money do all the work for me.
One of the ways to me now of letting go of that dream that was never really designed for us is how do I make my day-to-day easier by alleviating tasks that I don't like? So like, having the luxury to be able to, I mean, I had a housekeeper in the States, but now I'm about to take it up a little bit, meaning like, having a cook come to your home and cook for you, like my nail tech comes to the house, or being able to afford a masseuse at your home for $40. Those kind of things. To me, that is more about the dream, the ease, the luxury, the peace of that, and being able to afford it, like you guys said, just with the birthday parties,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been able to do in the time that I've been here. My housekeeper left a few hours ago, and I have the masseuse that comes and all the things that I, even with my, and I had towards the end a high multiple 6-figure salary. Even with that,
Yeah.
I couldn't afford all of those things because they were so expensive. The cost of living was so high. And I kept my expenses relatively flat. From the time I got divorced to the time that I left, I kept it relatively flat. I didn't inflate my lifestyle. What I inflated was the rate by which I was investing so that future me, which is now this me, right, did not have to work. And I can have my money make money babies for me, right? And now I can have that soft life where, Bailey's groomer just dropped her off a couple hours ago. And, I can do these other things. And I have a very frictionless life, right?
Yes.
Which is very different than the life I led just 14 months ago.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna take that word, frictionless.
Yeah, I can't say when you're dealing with elder parents, I cannot say frictionless.
Yeah.
But they've earned that. They've earned that friction from me because they were good parents. So, this ain't somebody who's just trying to who thinks they can add friction for a paycheck, right? So I can't claim total frictionless. But we were talking earlier, and it's like our utilities, even when it's cold, and I got that heat running. Now, Portugal's not as inexpensive as Mexico, y'all. So just don't even think that. All right. But it is a lot less expensive than one might think. So our total utilities, if I include our cell phone, is about €200 a month. And that's for both of our cell phones, the cable, the heat, and all of that. It comes with a landline that we don't use. I don't even know where I'd plug it in. I don't know. I don't know. The water, whatever, those utilities, €200 a month. And that's on the high side. Like in the spring and the fall, when we don't turn anything on, that comes down to like 125, 130.
That day-to-day is so important. People, you don't get a taste of what that actually means until you leave the United States, because I think before we left, we were paying around between, I would say about $500-600 in utilities alone a month.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's about heat, electric, and water, and internet, and phones, and that's normal. That's normalized. Let me say it like that.
Our cable and internet, which that's what I didn't say. The cable comes with internet and the landline that we don't use. $34.99, I think. 34 or 36 euro a month for high-speed internet, not chug-a-lug.
Yeah.
Just imagine what, like, for people who are watching, who haven't made the leap abroad yet, how much more you can do with that available income
Mhm.
month, like the level of investments that you could make, the level of ease that you can add into your life just to make your life a little bit simpler. It's really about buying back the time, essentially, that
Mhm.
we can't get back.
Exactly.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Exactly. And I that peace of mind, that ease, so there's one about the day to day, but the other part to that is, and we were kind of touching on this earlier, is so we live across the street from a park and we get to see the kids playing and this and that. But also, I bet you dollars to donuts. Well, it's raining, so it's not going to happen. But if it weren't raining, there'd be people in the park across the street playing cards, listening to music. I wouldn't be surprised if a parent was swinging their child on the swing. It's 10 o'clock at night here, y'all. 10:30 at night, y'all. They'll be swinging. Somebody over here will be sitting on the bench. The safety.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't, number one, you don't have to worry about somebody coming up to you asking, so what are you doing in this neighborhood?
Mhm.
Do you live here? Like baby boy in Florida the other day, right? So we don't have to worry about that. I pass by the police station every other day when I go to Lytle. What are they doing? They're paying attention to me. They're not paying attention to Rick. They are not paying attention. Everyone's not a suspect. And especially Black and brown people are not automatic suspect in their eyes. That's not how they see us necessarily. Now, there are certain neighborhoods, y'all, don't get in the comments. There are certain neighborhoods, especially for some African immigrant populations and Brazilian populations, that get harassed more than the average. However, one thing I have to say, and I do not want to compare pain. I was asking, like my barber, I said, so do you get harassed by the police? He says, yeah, once in a while. Does it turn violent? He went, no. He like, where are you coming from? So racism is everywhere, but it doesn't have to be lethal.
Right.
It doesn't have to be lethal, And if it's just going to be like I can deal with that all day long. Like, we're American. We know what it looks like when you don't know if you're going to make it home because this fool, right? So,
yeah. And you can go outside all hours of the day. And last night, I woke up, I think I let the dog out at like 1:30 in the morning. She wanted to go out. And I was like, okay, throw my clothes, went downstairs. 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like going out and walking the dog. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm gonna get got. It's like it's not even a concern.
Yeah.
Last I checked, Portugal is the 6th safest country in the world.
Well, I know y'all got Mexico beat there, so I'm not going to even touch it. But
but there are very safe cities. Like it's just like America, right?
Yeah, Merida is like one of the safest cities in
all of North America.
Yeah. So I don't know. I put the link in the chat again, just so for people who are watching, you want to get a taste of what is being offered at the summit. I definitely don't want to stray too far away from that, but really I want people to understand and see or envision like what your life can look like. And I will say this too, the cost of the ticket to a summit to get the information is much cheaper than actually coming to explore, but you'll get the information that you need. So if you are deciding or on the fence about making the investment to go take a scouting trip, but let's talk about like how important scouting trips are and what yours were like.
Ooh, great question.
Do you want to go first, baby?
Yeah, sure, I'll take it. So I came to Portugal on my first scouting trip to the country in 2022. And 3 days in, I knew For those that have listened to the Black Sick Global podcast from the beginning, you know that my number one is New Zealand. It's always going to have a soft spot in my heart. It was where I wanted to move since I was a little girl in the New York City. And, life took a turn and brought me here. And I don't look at Portugal as like my second place. It was the place that I was meant to be because it offers me everything that I thought I wanted and more, and the things that I didn't even know I wanted or needed. Right. And so I came on my second scouting trip last year, a few months before I moved because I needed to secure my apartment. But ultimately, that has now evolved into Nomad Noir, which is our signature scouting trip program. And so we had 2 cohorts this year in August, and taking them around Portugal, showing them how we live as Black expats, giving them the opportunity to meet people in different areas, to talk, to answer their questions, to meet with professionals, to get them closer on their path. And then in 2025, we're going to have a spring and a fall cohort, because I think scouting trips are a phenomenal way for you to really get a flavor for, can you see yourself living here? And it's not in the touristy areas, right? I'm not taking you around and showing you, the different statues and monuments. Like, you'll have plenty of time if you decide to move here to do that, right? But it's helping you navigate, the metro, understanding the healthcare system, understanding these things that you're not going to find necessarily on the internet, or you really have to understand by living here. How do you permeate the hidden, rental market? Like things like that, that only come from experiencing it firsthand. And so that's why I think, you really, really, if you are thinking about moving to a country, go on a scouting trip. I scouted countries that I ultimately did not live in. I did not move to. And it was because I took the scouting trip that it saved me thousands of dollars and time, because I would have gone somewhere and then said, oh my gosh, like I can't live here. Because I tell people, replicate a day in the life of your life in your routine in that country. If you do that and you hit a wall, or you hit like a lot of friction, like I did on my scouting trip to Costa Rica, I was like, oh, hell no. And I mean, no offense to Costa Rican people, no offense to the country, it just wasn't a good fit for me.
Has to vibe.
I was looking at it from a taxation standpoint, like being a business owner. I was like, I can't deal with these import taxes and business and taxes and things like that. It was just like that. I was like, I can't. I love Costa Rica, but not to live.
Yeah, I had a 9-day trip, and I knew on day one, I was like, "Oop, I should have left 8 days early."
That was the trip from hell. That was the trip from hell. Every time I hear that story, it's like, ooh,
Costa Rica.
If you are working remotely or something like that, I always suggest take as long as you can. So we took a month. We rented an Airbnb for a month.
I agree.
And we rented it in a regular old neighborhood, actually on the other side of the river. In a working class neighborhood. No tourists whatsoever. Less English too. Less English. So it was like, oh, it's on and popping.
Yeah.
How do you
follow English? He follow Portuguese.
Right? They're like, how do you work this oven?
Yeah.
We're trying to like do the translator, hold the translator up so you can figure out how to work the oven and stove.
The
washing machines.
That too.
Yeah.
And some of it doesn't translate. So you have to be patient with yourself and don't let these kinds of things discourage you or frustrate you to the point where you might miss your blessing.
Yeah.
Which Rick can do, but he was already in the mode of, I'm ready for this experience. So he didn't do that impatient thing that he usually does. And so we rented the Airbnb over there, and we went grocery shopping at the fruitarias, right? I couldn't get something renewed in the United States. Well, I could, but they wanted to charge me $180. So I went to the farmacia over there. She was Black. She spoke English, enough anyway. And she was fine refilling my prescription for €8. No insurance, right?
Oh, wow.
No doctor to sign off on it.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that too.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Right. The farm, I think we have pharmacists that good in the United States, but they're hemmed in by the laws, is what I think, right? Because they have to go to a lot of schooling, right? They almost have to go to school as much as a doctor does. So I think they're just hemmed in by the laws. But anyway, yeah, and so, doing the daily life, we're like, okay, I'm going to give you guys a story. And this probably the first day was probably the thing that did it. So had we spent the night yet? Was it the next morning? I can't remember. Day 1, day 2. I don't know.
You're talking about the coffee shop?
Yep. So we go. So I'm looking on Google. We want some coffee and croissant or whatever, right? So we find a place, pronouncing shit all wrong. We find the place a couple of blocks away. We're finding on Google Maps. Then we get there, and her machine is down, and she can't take cards. And we haven't gotten euros yet. And so I'm like, oh, I said, I don't have euros yet. And is there an ATM? And she says, yeah, there's one around the corner. She says, but just sit down, have your breakfast, and then you can go later.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're Black.
We can play. You can pay it later. I know you guys have experienced that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Or go get the money, and then do I need to leave collateral? What?
No. You don't need to leave it. You'll be back.
Yeah.
And so that shows you, and she was not Black. We are. It's a whole different mindset outside of the United States, y'all.
It is. And it takes a while. I would say at least a year to begin to really decondition yourself because of how you've been treated. I remember just walking down the street from our house and a Mexican woman asking me directions, but I was able to tell her, but she wasn't afraid of me. She walked up with her daughter, and to be seen and everyone speaks to you and be treated like a human being.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was looking at in the comments, Michael was asking a question about Karens.
Yeah, I saw that.
And different things. And it's like Karens here compared to US are almost non-existent. I mean, we witnessed a Karen.
A Portuguese Karen.
A Portuguese Karen. And she had a couple drinks in her.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
she had to get her courage up.
She was cussing folks out, but it wasn't us. She was cussing some French students out.
Yeah. She was pissed at the French.
She made friends with Elise.
Oh yeah, we were.
Oh well, your girl get ready to cuss these people out over here for whatever reason.
I don't know. All I heard, we don't speak Portuguese, but I can understand some. I heard imigrante. I heard francés. And she Portuguese, imigrante. So, and them
kids looked at her like she crazy.
Yeah. They started singing songs. They started making songs out of the words that she was saying. But she never talked about calling the police or what you don't have any business being there or any of that stuff. Contrast that with the white Karen that we saw in our taco spot, who was yelling and screaming, talking about she wanted cheese on her taco.
But she was American.
She was, I said American.
You said white.
Oh, white American.
She was American.
White American, yes.
They're called European Americans now.
Yes, European Americans.
Americans. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
pissed about that too, by the way.
Yeah, I love that.
So this white girl,
I love that
so
for
this,
them.
so this white girl, she was yelling and screaming at these poor folks at the taco shop, talking about she wanted some cheese and I'll pay for it. And I mean, she was yelling. And they were looking at her and just like, is she crazy? And then the lady who's from Colombia, she speaks Spanish, she speaks English, she speaks Portuguese. She's like, "Queijo?" And the girl's like, "Huh? Cheese?" You know. Her boyfriend comes back in and says, "You're making an asshole out of yourself." She starts crying.
And then she does, yeah.
She just, the Karen tears came. I wanted to record it. But yeah, Michael, other than that.
Yeah, if you run across a crazy Karen, Michael, most likely they're from the United States.
Yeah.
And they're a tourist.
Yeah. I've seen one video with a Ken or a Chad, whatever we're calling them, a male Karen. I've seen one video. Again, he wasn't talking to people of color. He was talking to some other European looking person.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
It's, you know, that emboldened spirit definitely comes with them because they're used to the world acquiescing to them. We see it here, like, you know, they talk about walls, but they're the ones over here. Yeah. You know, but what I have learned that they have not yet to realize is they don't have the same power. They can't call police officer manager and be like, can you, you know, they can't do that outside of the United States. So
yeah.
Usually, and what I just had a conversation with a client, someone asked about like the gentrification. I said, honestly, when Black people travel abroad, we do it differently because we understand what that is like. So we're respectful of the culture that we're immersing ourselves into.
Yeah.
And usually they're not having a problem. It's not us that they have a problem with.
So Traci, are you saying we got home training and they don't? Is that what you're saying?
I am, because we've had, you know, altercations with people who thought that they could call police officer manager, and then they was like, "Oh, wait a minute!" When nobody ran to their aid, it was like, "Well, wait a minute, we can't do that here."
Yeah. Then what do you have, right? Like,
it's
and that's the thing that I think challenges, especially I would say European Americans, when they are abroad. It's like, okay, when you don't have that in your quiver, what else do you have, right? And that reinforces that the whiteness that you have clung to so fiercely is an illusion, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I think, you know, maybe the beginnings of like understanding their place in the world and begins.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael has a lot of questions. So Michael, we were capitalists. Yeah, we were saving 65% of our income and investing it. And I think, you know, that what we did is, one of the things is we wrote a breakup letter with the Joneses that we were no longer going to compete with them. Right. As we were talking earlier about the American dream, we have to reimagine what we really want our life to look like.
Right.
And a lot of times we want to be able to travel. We want to do this. Well, you can afford anything, just not everything, as Paula Pan says. So our priority is travel. I was driving around a 2008 car. I was going to drive that car till the axles broke. Right. And your car was what, 2013, 2014? Something.
2011.
Oh, was it 11? It seems so much newer than that. But, you know, people have to decide what is a priority. And I don't care, unless you're the fool Elon Musk, no one can afford everything. So didn't need the Jag, didn't need the Range Rover. I don't need any of that. I don't need to pay for space that I'm not using. That money can go to upgrading from economy to business class on my next trip, right? So, I mean, we've been to South Africa since we've been here. We've been to England since we've been here. We've been to Spain. And when we go, like we just got back from Belgium. We're there for 2 weeks and 3 days. We house sat.
Mhm.
So, and there was no animal. So we were house sitting, and for 2 weeks, so accommodations were free. We're about to go to Thailand. Then we're going to go to Singapore. These are the things you get to do when you prioritize life over stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to
Yeah.
do those things with not just by ourselves, but with friends
Yeah. So
from Portugal.
because we went to South Africa with Exodus Summit, but we stayed in an Airbnb with Angela Lamar, who's down there in Querétaro.
They're in Querétaro. Yeah, they were
And-
just here recently.
And they flew
Oh,
here for my
nice.
birthday
Yeah, they flew over for her birthday.
and stayed at our house, and then at the guest house
At the
that I
slumber
rented.
party. At the slumber
Yeah.
party.
The summer party. Yeah.
At the adult
Yep,
slumber
at the adult slumber party.
At the
Yep.
luxury adult slumber party.
Yep.
Yes.
We had our bonnets on and everything, y'all. Look, this is family. We have created our own family. So what was Michael asking? I didn't see.
Wow.
How do you convince brothers and sisters to take time off of work
Oh,
to
yeah, I
travel?
just talked to
internationally?
travel.
So my person is staying in an abusive relationship. Yes, Allison.
It is
Mhm.
absolutely that.
Excuses
but the
and
problem with
complacency.
that is that people are so conditioned. The United States has done
Yeah.
a great job with that mental conditioning, just like an abusive partner. You can't get
Mhm.
any better outside of here. You will not live any better. You will be unsafe. So it is that abusive relationship, that toxic relationship. But all it takes is one time outside of them walls. All it
Mhm.
takes is one time outside.
Mhm. You get a taste, and that's it.
Woo,
That's
that's it.
And
I
so
want to
moving abroad is our reparations, you know.
that you have to take it where you can get it, and it
Mhm.
is. It absolutely is. I
Yeah.
want to talk really quick before we end about the upcoming election and how you guys feel about the state of America, the United States of America, the divided states of America with the upcoming election. So for myself, to me, I don't think it matters which way it goes, meaning like for Black people, because the systems will still be in place. And just like you said, the tiki tortures will still be there. And I see one of two scenarios. I see her winning and then being pissed and retaliating. And then I see the other side of the other thing that we're not going to speak about. But I wanted, because you guys, the summit is the weekend before the election, and I know, strategically.
Yes, it is.
So let's talk about how important the summit is in relation to the timing and what's happening in the States.
Well, it was the first weekend in November last year, and I don't even think we thought about that. I retired from politics, right? Like that was my job. And it didn't even occur to me. I'm gonna be honest, it did not occur to me. But what I want to say is really, really important because it has ripple effects.
Mhm.
And so everyone who's listening needs to vote. If you get your money in dollars, if your money is in dollars, we need that dollar to stay strong for wherever we are. We ain't got to be there, but we need it to stay strong. And the fact of the matter is, and I'm not going to pull any punches, and I'm not being hyperbolic. If 45 gets reelected, it is going to have ripple effects that are going to be felt for generations. For generations. He has already said, and Project 2025 has already said, and by the way, that Heritage Foundation that created, if you don't know what Project 2025 is, Google it.
Please.
The Heritage Foundation has been around since Nixon. They did Project 1980, and Reagan instituted 60% of that.
Yes, he did.
They had Project 2016, and Trump instituted 40% of that. Okay. And so he can say whatever he wants to say. His name is in there 300 plus times. and this is their game plan.
Mhm.
And if you play football and you saw somebody's playbook, you know what that's what they gonna do, right? That is what they're gonna do.
Mhm.
And so, in order for the United States democracy not to fall, Kamala Harris has to get elected. We need that 4-year reprieve. Does that mean that life for Black folks is going to magically get better? No, it didn't magically get better under Obama. As a matter of fact,
Hell
they
no.
clapped back. They clapped back, right?
Yeah.
And so, that's just what happens. That is just what happens, because tyranny is not going to give up without a struggle. And we are going to have to stand up and say, so no, that can't happen. So no matter where you want to move to, if the United States fails, it's going to have ripple effects that are global, especially economically. From every single continent will be affected.
Mhm.
So, y'all, this is no joke. This is no joke.
No, it's not.
I know they say that every single time, but this time is for real. You know it's for real when Dick Cheney endorses Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Dick Cheney, Dick
I thought
warmonger
he was
Cheney.
there. I thought he
See?
was
Dick, shoot him in the butt, Cheney.
Dick, shoot him in the butt. Where are the weapons of mass destruction, Cheney? He rolled out in that chair and he said, Kamala,
Yeah.
Right.
you know
Right.
it's got to be bad.
Right.
They actually want to go back in time. They want to go back in
No, he wants a dictatorship.
but they want to push everything back in time to a time that we didn't really exist outside the kitchens and
the plantation.
The plantation. That's what they want to push us back to. And every time I see where young Black males are looking at it and wanting to sit out or not wanting to respond and vote for a woman or vote for Kamala, or
They need to man up.
it's like, really? And what Barack Obama said to them the other day in Pennsylvania, I think he was being too nice. I really do. It's like,
This is
y'all
not
ain't
addressed
getting it.
rehearsal. This is not addressed
Yeah,
rehearsal.
y'all don't get it.
And that man is weak. He is weak. He's not strong. He's weak. He's a 32 count felon. All you have to do is say, your hair looks crazy, and he gets all petulant. That ain't a man.
Mhm.
That ain't a man.
But that's
weak
their
sauce.
man. That's their man. And that's the part that I think, first and foremost, I voted already, right?
So did I.
Yes, we did too.
As
Yes,
an
we
American
did.
that is living abroad, we have the opportunity to vote, and I have, and
Yep.
I've gotten confirmation from the election board that they received my ballot. That's first and
Yes.
foremost. That said, to answer from my perspective, I agree with everything that Rick and Elise you just shared. I would say to add to that is when America was founded, when democracy was created in the quote unquote experiment that we know to be America, was instituted, we weren't part of that, right? We
Right.
talked about the American dream earlier. It is just a dream. And we were not part of that either. Yet, we are the most American of any group outside of the indigenous people, because we built it ourselves, right? That said, we have not benefited in this democracy at all. We stand to lose and become a permanent underclass, regardless of who wins the election. And the fact that it is still so close, just weeks away, with a 34 count felon, fraudster,
Yeah.
Rapist.
mediocre European American, right, against a qualified Black woman is just it's a microcosm for how we are, or how we have had to exist in many
Yeah.
of the places that we've worked, right?
Yeah. Up against a
And
mediocre white man. You ever read that?
and that's what it is. It's like this is a prime example at the highest office in the land. And so if I see the headlines and I see even some of the comments about why are Black men doing this and why are they falling for Trump, or even the comments that Obama made, etc. Couple things. One, I think there is still a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of repairing our communities that were intentionally dismantled and taking the Black man out of the home many decades ago. And that fraction, I think there's still a lot of work there to be done, right? Can it happen overnight? No. But math is math, right? We are 13.6% of the population in the United States.
Right.
And so you're talking about less than 50 million, right? Latinos are about 55 million, Blacks are about 42 million. And if you assume 100% of eligible voters are of that 42 million are going to vote Democratic, that's still 42 million against 250 some odd million white people. So the fact that it's this close, y'all could say, oh, it's Black men that's voting for Trump. Bullshit, right? The fact of the matter is that white people are giving lip service and saying that they are against him, while when they go to cast their ballot, they are doing what they have done, and that is support this. If you don't care about your democracy, why should I care more about your democracy that I wasn't even included? Because you've taken away DEI, you've said critical race theory is bunk, you are burning books, you have stripped away reproductive rights. We have the highest rate of infant mortality among the Black community, and yet I'm supposed to give a shit more than you? Oh, no. Let the headlines read. If he gets back in, if 45 becomes 47, it's because you voted. Just like when Hillary lost to him in 2016, it's because white women voted against their interests, but they wanted to punt that over on Black women. Oh, no. Let the record show. If we get 2.5 weeks from now, where it looks like a done deal, and they're like, "Oh shit, there goes democracy."
It's not going to be. It's not going to be.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me and say, "Oh, why didn't Black men and why didn't Black?" No. Look at y'all in the mirror. Why has it gotten this far with all the things that he's done, all the things that he has said? It's because of them.
Yeah.
Well, the state of the world is because of them. It's because of white men. This
is true.
Right?
And reality of it is that even if she does get in, like any president, right, they're going to do something you don't like, right? Joe's been in there, and that was supposed to be 4 years ago, saving democracy, right? But yet, here we are, right? With supporting, proxy wars and things like that. And we're still a divided nation. And I'm not saying don't vote. I wholeheartedly believe in the right to vote. I wholeheartedly believe that you should. I also think it's an opportunity to think beyond the general election, because if you look at history, Obama had it in 2016, and then 2 years later in the midterms, what happened? People thought, oh, well, we did our part. We got him in, right?
2008,
right? Sorry, 2008, right? In 2010. So we can't let that happen again. As it looks now, it looks like even if she does get in, she's not going to have both, at least one house, right? Like at least one chamber. So
I ain't saying none of that. I've
seen some of the polling. And so it's just like, okay, well, if it's looking like that again, I think we have a teachable moment and an opportunity to educate the electorate, to tell them it's just not enough to vote in the general. It's not enough to just vote for the president. No. You have to vote down the line, and you have to continue to vote in every election.
Thank you. Because that's what I was going to say, Krishan, especially your local elections, because these are the people, if we had been paying attention on the local level, it wouldn't have mattered what they did federally. The states would not have reversed Roe v. Wade, right? So we have to continue, as long as our money and family are in the state, we have to continue to pay attention and to vote in those local elections. Every year there's an election, y'all. I don't care where you live. Every single November there's an election, and sometimes two. Sometimes there's one in the spring and one in November. So every single election vote. But that doesn't mean you got to be in the middle of the melee.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
so you want to like bring it home why this
Which
summit
is why we live in Portugal.
Yeah.
Which is
My
why we
nervous
live in
system
Portugal.
thanks me. It's like every once in a while I'll get on my pulpit and then I'll go, okay, now I can take a bubble bath or go explore a castle because that's what
Yeah.
I have to say. So I went from working 70 hours a week for the Colorado Democratic Party to losing my mind and saying, that's it. We made a decision December 2021. I gave notice January, right after the holidays. June, we were here. I was able to do that because I went to Exodus Summit. There was no Move to Portugal virtual summit. So I had to figure out the Portugal stuff all by myself. And I'm telling you, Rick knows. I'm like, oh no, they ain't got no more appointments. I was up there panicking, trying to figure this stuff out. You don't have to be me.
Yeah.
Krishan, Rick, and I have put together everything that you need. All your questions will be answered. And I want you to think of Portugal as like the European California. We've got California weather. We've got beautiful beaches up and down the coast. And I get to take my morning walks next to castles. What could be cooler?
Beautiful country.
What could be cooler, right?
Well,
So,
I know we
yeah.
have to look forward to visiting.
Yeah.
We look forward to visiting.
It's a beautiful country. It really, really is. And the people are really, really special. And I'll just leave you guys with this. Just talking about how special the people are. The other day before I got food poisoning, I was on the bus and I see, people, getting ready to get on the bus. And this is the ADA. You guys protect that in the States. This is not a thing everywhere.
Yeah, it's not
It's not a thing.
Sure ain't.
So, but this is how respectful and kind the people are here. So this kid who has nothing to do with this lady and her baby, he helps her with the stroller get onto the bus. And then he goes about playing his Candy Crush or whatever by himself. And then he looks up and sees that she's about to get off. He rushes over to help her get off the bus and then gets back on the bus to continue on his way. That's Portugal.
Yeah.
That's Portugal. And so you want peace of mind, you want freedom at a lower cost than most of the major cities in the United States. It's Portugal.
Any closing words, Krishan?
Ooh, I would just say, I guess it goes to just a little quip that I had made before about my nervous system thanks me every day for making this choice.
Oh,
and
can you say it again for the people in the back?
Yes, my nervous system thanks me every day for making this choice. And so if you are wanting, knowing, believing that there's something more than what you are experiencing, what you're existing, I think it's worth it to you to buy a ticket, make the investment, find out if Portugal is for you. So join us at the summit.
Yes.
I'm going to say to that information is the new currency. When you know more, now you're held to a different level of accountability and responsibility and access to opportunity. So the amount of information that one will get from the summit is going to be so immense that you can't help but to take action in one way or another.
Yes. Yes.
Rick,
Absolutely.
you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say definitely come to the summit and listen to other people that live here, not just us three, but other people that the boots on the ground, the people that live here, that like it, that love it, that might have something that they don't like about it, whatever, because everybody's going to tell you their story. Everybody's going to let you know
Yeah.
if there's things that you like and things that you don't like. I mean, there's isms.
Yeah. The
There are
bureaucracy,
isms.
y'all. The
Yeah.
bureaucracy.
Oh, yes.
There's isms, but it's nothing compared to the isms that you get rid of when you leave the United States.
Mhm.
You know, you get rid of those isms. It's like,
I can breathe.
I can breathe. I'm okay. You know, I'm not suspect. I'm not.
Ain't nobody following me around the
No one's
store.
following me around. You know, women ain't freaking out and crossing the street because I'm walking behind them. It's like,
Yeah.
I think half of them think they sexy and stuff anyway. And
They're trying to flirt.
they're trying to flirt and keep in front of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of
But,
biracial couples here, so that wouldn't be surprising. And so yes, Daphne, I think.
Daphne.
It is being recorded, and if you can't show up live, the replays will be available. So yeah, if you can show up for part of it live, you should, because then you can ask your questions in real time, and the experts won't be available after that to answer your questions. You just have to hope that somebody else has asked your question.
Yeah.
But yeah. And so we've got 2 passes. One, you will have access to the replays for about 30 days, and the other one for about 8 months or so.
So the ticket link is in the description, but I'm also putting it in the chat for people who are watching. And so you can get more information on the summit itself. When we did our scouting trips, there was no summit specific to a country. So I think it is essential and important, even if you are teetering between countries, get the information, because when I tell you, if you had to pay to meet with these people individually, you will be paying more than the cost of the ticket.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Truly. Truly.
So utilize this time to weigh out your options and see what works best for you. But I'm so excited for people who are watching and considering a different lifestyle for themselves, because you absolutely deserve it. You are entitled and deserving of a life of ease and abundance and peace and pleasure. It's not for those that look like this and not like this.
That's right.
So, make sure that you exercise the opportunity again to get the information, because this is going to be a determining factor as far as what your next steps are going to be. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for coming and sharing space with me, imparting your knowledge and information upon us.
Welcome.
And also, I got that controversy that I love so much from both of y'all, or all 3 of y'all. Because you have to have something that fuels that energy. You have to.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
We all made the leap abroad, but when I tell you, it is going to be the reason why that is going to keep your feet in your new place. It is going to be your reason why.
Right.
Yes. Truly. Daweed said she's voting for neither. This is not a regular election, y'all. This is democracy. So, I don't want Putin to get emboldened, because if he gets emboldened, he's going to start marching towards Portugal. And see, then no.
I've tried to block David, but I can't do it because he's not coming from my channel.
Yeah, I can't tell where he's coming from.
Yeah. He's coming from my channel.
I've already tried. We're closing out anyway. Thank you guys so much for being here. It is late over there. It is after 11, almost midnight, approaching midnight over there in Portugal. So we're definitely going to let them go so they can get some rest. And I appreciate everyone here. And thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you, Traci.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you. Get your tickets, y'all.
Yes.
Bye, you guys. I'm going to close out.